Yes, I'm Chris Umflett. I have 4 kids in the district, 3 at Robert L. Green, 1 is a preschooler with an IEP. And first I wanted to say props for the employee bonus. I read ahead on the agenda. I think that's really well deserved. I was happy to see that. I am here to propose an explicit board policy for keeping parents informed about any significant academic, social, health, and emotional issues happening with kids through 6th grade. And I'm going to give 9 reasons, and I'm going to do it in 5 minutes. Number 1 is the right thing to do. And so I'm going to start with conviction. Most of my reasons are going to be pragmatic. For me, there's a conviction there. 1, that this policy should apply to students of all ages, but I'm only asking for K through 6 right now. Our current state laws support this, and as a Christian, I believe that God has given us the responsibility and duty to care for our children in this way. To quote Governor Whitmer, parents are their children's first and most important teacher. 2, compromise. I'm proposing a compromise. I'm not asking for the policy that I would personally want, and I'm not asking you to acquiesce against your own convictions. This isn't about winning. Doing this may not benefit my long-term reputation in the community or yours. It may not be the best thing for aspirations to higher office, but I do believe it's the best thing to serve our kids well in the long term. So hope you'll hear this as a plea for compromise, not an ideological battle. 3, state law says, quote, "It is the natural fundamental right of parents to determine and direct the care, teaching, and education of their children. Public schools serve the needs of the pupils by cooperating with the pupils' parents." I believe this policy would be in the spirit of that law. 4, both gubernatorial candidates support this. Whitmer's administration recently criticized the State Board of Ed, with whom you're consulting on these matters. Her COO said, quote, "We urge you to review your trainings to ensure they comply with all applicable regulations, maintain department guidelines, and are reflective of best practices," end quote. Dixon has proposed a state law called the Parents' Right to Know Act. This policy would be a compromise to proactively show good faith and support to parents now, rather than lip service when it may be required later. 5th, a very high majority of parents will support this, I believe. I started asking parents at drop-off, would you support a policy like this for all ages? There were mixed feelings. They would say, that's tough. I can see it both ways. So I started asking, would you support this for kids through 6th grade? And it was, yeah, absolutely. Sort of disbelief, like this wouldn't happen already. Number 6, avoid controversies and backlash of other districts. We've seen all over the country examples of hundreds of parents showing up at meetings, making a scene. There's been attempted board recalls, successful board recalls. This happens in progressive cities like San Francisco, diverse cities like Saginaw. We don't want to have a scene like that here. Multiple school board candidates have mentioned this as one of their concerns. I believe a policy like this would be a good faith message that says East Lansing Public Schools and parents are on the same team, that you respect and value us and you always will. You might think that parents should feel that way now, but many do not. We need tangible evidence, and seeing this codified in a set of policies would be helpful because there's policies today that limit our involvement in communication. 7, at this age in particular, that's up to 6th grade, kids really need their parents. 8, this could help boost enrollment of East Lansing resident families in the future. We've spoken to parents of incoming kindergartners. They're thinking about school options. They're not considering public schools because they don't believe that their district is inclusive of parents. There's a lot of families in East Lansing that aren't sending their kids here. If they were, we would be enriched culturally and academically and have increased per pupil funding. 9, this is consistent with the practical decisions that East Lansing Public Schools makes on a regular basis. I see a lot of evidence as a parent of the teachers and the staff at our school believing that we're important. But this only seems to get codified in policy when it serves the administration's own interests. A recent example is the new football game policy. Middle and elementary schoolers must be, quote, seated with and supervised by an adult, end quote. There's no subjective evaluation of the parent or the adult. There's no subjective evaluation of the child. There's no evaluation of the circumstances. It's just a rule. It seems to recognize the inherent immaturity of this age. There are far more important issues than football games that should be treated the same way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.